with Glenn Angel, FD, and Yen this morning. I beg your pardon. Yen is here with us. Yen is from Career Agility International. Good morning, Yen.
Good morning, Yen.
Excited to be here today.
And once we get your microphone on, we can hear you.
It's good to have you here. But before we go any further, I just want to say a very good morning to someone special who's tuned in right now. His name is Timothy Key. He is from Citibank. Good morning, Timothy. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Timothy.
Good
Hope
morning,
you have
Tim.
a fun 1 hour ahead with our Big Show TV and the Big Show. Because Yen is here and it is Happy at Work Thursday. And today I feel like it's a really fun topic.
I think so.
Stupid questions. We love stupid questions.
Stupid interview
I
questions.
never
Stupid
knew
interview
the
questions.
interviewer. There were interviewers like the interviewers we're about to
Talk about.
talk about today. I always thought interviewers were all very serious.
Occasionally, they would be if they had a list of appropriate questions that they're forced to ask and follow because it's protocol. But most of the time, it's just conversation. So you never know what they might ask.
But are these stupid questions intentional?
Not always.
Okay, all right.
So most questions lead on to the real agenda, which is about why I should hire you. So sometimes you can't ask a question point blank because you're just going to get the model answer.
Right.
So
Right.
you want to suss someone out and you want to lead into it. You might open up with a silly question.
So you want to see what their thought process is like, basically.
Yes.
So a silly question like, what's your favorite fruit?
Possibly.
Totally unrelated.
I think it's a
Things like
really good sign if at, say, maybe 3/4 of the way in and the interviewer starts asking you about personal likes and dislikes.
Okay.
I think it's a good sign. I think it's a good sign that they like you and they want to get to know you better. So
And
they
they're
might
comfortable.
ask. That's right. They might
Yeah.
ask, what do you do on the weekend? Or
Yeah.
what do you do in your free time?
Yeah.
Those
That-
are great.
those are okay.
I mean, they're not silly, but they're not smart. I
Yeah.
mean, sorry, they're not necessarily related to the work.
Right,
But
right.
it's an indication that they like you.
What about if, as a woman, 3/4 the way down, the interviewer says, "So, are you planning to have children and when?"
Yeah, that's a no-no. A good response to that is I don't see how that's relevant to the role.
Okay.
Full stop.
Okay.
But what they're alluding to, again, so what is the real question behind that question?
That you're going to take time off.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's about, are you going to prioritize your family over your work? And
Of
so
course.
you've got to find a nice diplomatic answer.
Which would be
to-
something like what? I mean, you can't really say, I don't see how that's relevant to...
No, but you
But
see,
it's a practical question though, right?
You can
No, it's
use
not.
that. You can use that answer because it's all about tonality.
It
Yeah.
is.
If you come across really hard, then that answer comes out as really rude.
Yeah.
But it's all about tonality.
So my model answer, so a little tip for all our listeners out there, if you're ever asked a non-related question, a personal one, you go, I don't see how that's relevant to the role, but in my case, my support structure is very, very strong, and I'm confident I can do the job.
Ah,
See?
nice. Okay, so you're kind of leaving it up in the air a little bit by giving enough sort of confidence to the employer that you will be there for that, and you have a whole village looking after the kid if necessary,
If
right?
necessary. So it's really about the support structure, about your priorities, about are you capable? I'm not interested if you're going to have more children. I'm going to be impacted if you take time off.
Right,
Right.
got it. Okay, got it.
Do they
Okay.
ever ask like the guy that question as well? Because a
Rare.
guy
You
also
don't.
takes time off.
Yeah, for
when
sure.
he's a new dad,
But
right?
I'll
Yes,
tell you
for sure.
honestly, he never gets asked that question.
Okay, all right.
Never.
Okay, we'll continue to talk to Yen on the Big Show TV. It is Thursday, the 25th of May.
Kiss 92 Day Check brought to you by Gain City's Maximum.
I have to say, like, every time I've hired someone, it makes me feel a little bit more secure when the person is in a relationship rather than someone who's just flighty and running around and unsure of who they're going to be with and all that. Because to me, that person is tied down and they're settled.
To some extent, you're right. It's a psychological indication. And if you're a hiring manager, you'd look for these things as well.
Okay.
So sometimes we look for whether or not the person's own a property or whether they have mortgage. And if I know someone has a mortgage, then I know the real motivation here. The
It's the
person's
money.
going to have a threshold, right?
Right,
To take a lot more stress. He's going to feel a lot more committed to the job.
Yes.
Yeah, because he
and
needs
because he
this.
needs the job.
Right.
So that's just data points.
But how do you find out if a person owns and has a mortgage and
You
or
ask lah.
rents? Do you? Is that inappropriate?
You could potentially have an informal sort of chat over beer, over drinks.
Yeah.
A lot of good jobs are offered over a conversation.
Over a conversation.
Like a coffee.
Casual.
But it's
Or
really
beer.
interesting. You need someone who's in a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's not that I need it. To me, it's a tick on the box.
To me, it's not.
Okay.
Because
That's all right.
Because his people need to work weekends and all.
Yes,
we
that's
need
true.
to
Yes,
work
it's
weekends
different,
where,
yeah.
it's long hours, and very seldom can the spouse accept that.
So you're looking more so for people who are not settled.
Not settled.
Oh, is that discriminatory though? I'm married and I want a job
No, but
with you.
starting out, like, because a lot of his people, stay in the company for quite long, and I
Yeah.
know quite a number
Yeah.
of them. They've all gotten married now,
Along
and
the
they're
way.
still
Eventually,
working
right?
for him.
Along
right.
the way,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because they know what they're in for.
Yeah,
I
they
guess.
do. They do. And when you're in the business and then you get into a relationship and whatever, whoever you're getting into a relationship already has to deal with your
They
career.
know already. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if it goes any further, that person is accepting of what you're going to do.
Yeah, yeah. So I was reading online that certain things that shouldn't be touched on in an interview. I suppose this goes for the interviewer as well as the interviewee. Things like sex, basically gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, race, religion, citizenship. I suppose in Singapore that has to count because of the whole PR and
Yeah.
Singapore citizen status, disability status, familial and pregnancy status, genetic information.
So no, you're not supposed to ask those questions, and you shouldn't be getting asked those questions. And if you're a candidate and you're going for an interview, and you identify these red flags, it's your choice. Do you want to progress this conversation? Maybe you go and say, "Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
I don't think this is quite aligned to my career strategy. Thank you. Bye bye."
Can you report them?
You can, but
I
what's
mean,
the
if it's
point?
highly inappropriate.
Like, but what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
To what end?
To what end?
yeah.
That person probably wouldn't get the job already. I'm thinking like the boss, the person who's interviewing him, may not feel very comfortable after that awkwardness.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Okay.
probably
Yeah,
just
we
won't.
should generally stay away from the politics,
The politics, yeah.
religion, sexual orientation, and race. Definitely,
Because all of it makes no difference to whether or not you can
Exactly.
do the job.
Yeah.
exactly
For sure.
Right.
And so there's an interesting story about pronouns now. And so
Oh, yes.
if I have a candidate who's really adamant or very rigid about the fact that their pronoun is whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'd be quite concerned because, hello, I don't care about your pronoun. I care that you can do the job.
Yeah.
You can call yourself anything, but
Yeah.
don't insist that the rest of us call you that as well. So it's a little bit of that.
Right.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
To all due respect, that I understand that diversity,
Yeah.
equality,
Yeah.
and all that, but when it comes to the work, it's really about the work.
But I guess I mean it's a tough topic to touch on because
It is.
I mean half of us don't even understand how it's used and stuff like
Mm.
that. But if someone wants to be recognized as a they, then they would want you to say they and not he or she.
But when they're not in the room,
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
and so again, back to the interview,
Mm.
it's really about focusing on your propensity to do the job, whether you
Your
have
skill
the
set.
skills, whether
Yeah.
or not you're going to show up.
It's whether you're capable.
And then whether or not we're going to get along and focus on and row in the same direction.
Yeah. It doesn't
that's what we
matter.
wanna
Everything
do.
else
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
If you guys have come across silly questions in an interview and you've had problems answering them or dealing with them, put them down on our chat on our Facebook and we'll bring it up to Yen and see how we can deal with these strange questions that you've had to face.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up the pronoun thing because I think I just read an article recently about two employees who got fired in the United States. I think they were school teachers or something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
And they used their pronouns because they were, I think it was on email or something like that. And they deal with a lot of people they don't meet.
Yeah.
And so they had names that were confusing.
Okay.
So they felt that in order to ensure that the person they're
Receiving it,
corresponding
right.
with knew their gender, they needed to have their pronoun there.
Oh, like in the signature.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So they got
But they
fired
weren't
for that.
allowed. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
It was a Christian school.
Okay,
I
okay.
generally stay away from this. But if you have an ambiguous name, for
Like a gender-neutral
like
name.
it's okay to put a Mr. or a Miss,
Right?
Okay.
right? Which is sometimes what we do in the resume.
Yeah.
If you want, if you
Right.
don't, I don't think it matters.
okay.
It's so funny, right? These times that we're living in.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, yeah, that's the norm. You know, you just put Mr. or Miss or
but
whatever.
then if you're not
But-
either,
but
then
what I just said, it's the norm, may be seen as politically incorrect as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that's the traditional way that
Yeah.
it was. It's been around for decades, if not centuries, right? But if you're a they, then what is the prefix?
Exactly.
You're right.
I don't know what the prefix is.
Neither do I.
So a quick tip: if you are submitting an application and you're not sure about the person whom you're writing to, dear hiring manager,
Okay.
dear talent acquisition recruiter.
To whom it may concern? No.
Yeah.
That's like a complaint.
Which is why I think it will. I mean, in Singapore, right? There are many things that will take a while. You know, like
Yeah.
all these things are happening in the States. I don't think it's gonna hold any water
It's not gonna
anytime
happen
soon,
soon, no.
here in Singapore.
No.
All right, let's go back on the radio.
Kiss 92 traffic.
On the PIE heading east towards the airport before Jalan Bahar, look out for a broken down vehicle. Also on the PIE, but this time towards Tuas after the Toa Payoh exit, avoid lane 4. An accident has occurred. Wherever you are today, stay safe.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is the co-founder of Career Agility International. We've got Yen with us today because it's Happy at Work Thursday. Good morning, Yen.
Good morning.
Yen, what about these silly questions? I mean, Angel started off with it. You know, what was
We're talking about snappy answers to stupid interview questions this morning.
But you do get them, right? How many golf balls can you put in a bus?
Oh, yeah.
What's the point? What's the point behind a question like that? Is that to throw you off and see how you handle something that is sort of left field?
Yeah, why not? And sometimes you might want to put the candidate under a lot of stress just to see how they
They
react.
handle, right.
You know, sort of like a left field type thing, and you're gonna see their reaction and you see how they react and whether or not they have
The capacity to think quick, right?
Well, yeah. But a quick one on that. I mean, they're known as market sizing questions, and so if I might ask you how many bricks built this building,
Right.
how many stars are there in the sky, how many leaves does a typical coconut tree have, or something like
Yeah.
that. But the purpose is not the answer. The purpose is really to see your thought process and see if you can have some linear thinking or
yeah.
some sort of analytical mind to kind of get to your answer.
Approximate, it
and
doesn't-
to see whether or not you can defend your answer.
And it's not
Right.
about getting the answer right, Like
Yeah.
you said.
And those
Okay.
were really unusual questions. But what about a question like, just tell me more about yourself?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Is that all right or no?
You know, a snappy comeback in my mind every time I get something like that. So tell me about yourself. I'm thinking, well, you've got my resume. What the heck do I know? That's
True.
relevant, you know. But that's my snappy comeback. But you know, you can't be snarky in an interview.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got to give it some time, and it's got to be really sharp and coherent and short. So a quick tip on introducing yourself: don't talk too much. Don't go into too much detail. A lot of people like to talk about my work and this is what I do, and then they go off on a tangent and this is what I've done, and they
they do all the time.
So a quick one is to focus on some of the competencies you bring and the top 3 selling points that are relevant to the role, and stop right there. So thank you so much for your time. As you can see, I've done this other thing, and I've got a lot of experience in this other area as well. And then you convert that. You convert that to the purpose of this interview at all, which is, why am I here? Right? And so there are 2 answers. The real answer is, and I'm really excited to be here because this opportunity is really interesting. It's got all of these wonderful elements that I know I'm going to be really excited, and I can't wait to be a part of your team. ask for the job. And can you imagine how
nice,
that's
yeah.
going to
So
That's
how
really
far
nice.
would you go to land this job?
Yeah.
We've got Joel that came onto our Facebook, and he actually said, "Can the interviewer ask if the applicant is suffering from mental health issues?"
Ooh, that's a tough one. No, you can't. You shouldn't be asking about health or disability because that's confidential.
Okay.
So, and I understand line managers want to know if there's something
Of
going
course.
on. They can always do background checks, and
Okay.
they can do reference checks. They can ask other people what's it like working with this individual. And reference checks do check with previous supervisors. What was it like managing this individual? How was
Right.
this person under stress? And that comes out during ref checks.
And I'm
And-
sure they check your social media as well
That's
these
right.
days.
Of course.
And if they're interested and they're accepted, wouldn't they have to go for a medical as well?
At some point, yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're physical.
That's
And
not
Also
a, it's
physical,
not a
it's not a
mental
mental.
thing. Yeah, they
I
don't
see.
send you to a psychologist and see
Yeah.
what you see with the ink blot. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
what do you see?
And anyway, some people think they're mental, but they're not.
Yeah, that's true.
It is 8:16.
Kiss 92 time check brought to you by Putian.
Fresh, crisp, and
Like you were saying, tell me about yourself. Like Glenn said, tell me about yourself. And you said, give your 3 USPs almost, right? Do you only answer what you've been asked? Like, don't over volunteer answers, basically.
No, I
Or
think
information.
You should definitely volunteer. So when candidates come to me and say, "Well, I don't know what the interviewer is going to ask. I feel so out of control. I'm not in charge. They've got the position of power." That's not the case. The candidates are very powerful with what they choose to volunteer. So I think it's important that you bring up things that you've researched on and you feel it's relevant. Raise it. It's okay. So share more than what you might be asked. But make it relevant.
And don't ramble, right?
Of course not. Don't
Okay.
ramble.
Like this has happened to me 3 times. I've been asked the same question in an interview. Why do you want this job?
Yeah.
What a dumb question. If I didn't want to join your organization, if I didn't find it exciting, if I didn't have a passion for what you're advertising, I'm not going to be here.
No,
Why
but
are you asking me this
I feel it's
question?
relevant. I've asked interviewees that question before, and I've got different answers because I feel it will also tell me how much they know about the business that I run.
Okay, 'cause
You know,
I've got a
you-
habit of doing my
Yeah,
research.
you can't
so-
you can't just come in and go, yeah, I want it for the money. Because I'll be like, oh, yeah, but I mean, there's so much more that goes
Yeah,
beyond.
yeah,
You
In
need
yeah.
to
fact,
have
that would be the wrong answer. Actually.
That would be the wrong
absolutely
answer, yeah.
outdone.
Or answer like
I need to go shopping.
I'm here because I got no other choice.
choice. That one, yeah. No, but I just feel that
I think it's relevant, though.
I think it's a waste of time. I think in that is something you discover from talking to the person.
Yen, what do you
I
think?
agree. So that is a category of silly questions because it's an obvious question.
Yeah.
So why are you here? And the answer will definitely be because I'm interested in the role, and the candidate can lie through their teeth. So a better question would be to get a sense of the candidate's real interest
Yep.
by asking peripheral questions, which again might be seemingly stupid. Like, what do you know about us?
Yeah,
So what led you here?
you'd be surprised
Or-
at the answers, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So peripheral questions might seem silly, but they get to the real
Yeah.
motivation.
I would rather get asked questions like that than
Yeah.
why
Why are you
Why are you
here?
here?
Yeah.
How about how do you take your coffee?
Oh, so if it's black like my soul,
I like my coffee like I like my men. Tall, dark, and handsome. Oh, dear. Okay, so if you have any questions, here is one from Adrian, not true.
Yeah.
How should you reply if the employer asks, can I do a reference check with your previous employers? Obviously, sure.
Yes.
Right? The answer is, of course, unless you have something to hide.
yeah. So the answer is always going to be definitely, sure, by all means, and you definitely need to say yes. But and we have a lot of stories about individuals who perhaps left because the manager was not really
Yes.
great, or they had some sort of conflict.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, when you know that if you say yes, you're probably going to get a negative reference. So this is my trick. Say yes, and you can continue to say, well, but he doesn't know all aspects of my work. I've got 3 other referees that's going to be able to speak to the quality of my deliverables. So please call all of them. So what you're doing is diluting perhaps one negative to
and
three
three positives. But do you have to give a reference for each employer that you worked for? I mean, if you didn't have a good time with one, can you just leave them out?
You shouldn't, because
Oh,
that's
really?
that's like omitting a sin of sorts. But again,
Oh.
it depends on how far you've gone in that conversation.
Right.
I don't think that the individual will get that far without having made at least some friends, or who can say something positive about their work.
So it's just about trying to avoid the bad.
No, I think it's okay to have a more 360 kind of thing. And
Okay.
like I'm not going to be perfect in every way, and if I am, something's wrong. So if the hiring manager has an issue with that, so be it. But hiring managers sometimes would love a candidate and hear from their own friends, oh, I'm not a fan of this person, whatever, and then the hiring manager decides, maybe I'm not going to hire this person after all, even though I kind of like this person, but someone else said something. And if the hiring manager is going to be influenced by that
So
one individual,
easily, yeah.
then so be it. You've got to move on.
I had that situation with someone I hired, and that person, yes, had a bit of an attitude problem, but the quality of work sort of overrode the attitude. So I was told, yeah, you're going to have a bit of attitude. But everybody else said, damn, this person can produce. So I took the risk, and it was worth the risk. So, yeah, sometimes you...
How long has this person been with you now?
Just left me last year after... Well, only because kids are growing up. She needs to be at home. After like 17 years.
Oh, wow. That's a long time, though.
Long time.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting when
At
you
least
say
she didn't steal your clients and all that
No.
and start her own company.
No, but at the end of the day, here's my thought on that, right? If someone leaves you and steals your client, you as a manager were not doing a good enough job. That's why the client went with them.
Right.
Your company didn't go. So in other words, that person was bigger than your company.
But sometimes loyalty, I mean, they
It
could
happens.
be undercutting you as well, and they're like, okay, we're going to save money. And they already know how we run and stuff like that. It does happen.
Undercut all you want, because the more you undercut, the less you can supply.
Yeah.
So at the end of the
And
day...
the less you make as well.
And at the end of the day...
But I'm
it's
sure you'll
about
have
quality.
something in the contract, right?
There's always a clause.
A
but-
non-compete.
The non-compete clause.
Non-compete.
At the end of the day, you're really going to go to court over that?
And apparently that
Some
doesn't
people
really
do.
work, right? So much anymore
Yeah.
because you're taking away bread and butter
Bread
and stuff like that.
There's very few courts that will hold that up because it's your bread and butter. Very few.
Because I think there's so many people who want to work for these big companies and all that and learn the trade and then start their own.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, just like
Yeah.
chefs at Ding Tai Fung. After that, they go and sell their fried rice outside
Yep.
as
Yep.
hawkers.
Yep.
Or I think I was reading another article the other day, a couple of chefs from one of these Western restaurants here in Singapore, a local Western restaurant. They are claiming now that their chicken chop is better than
Oh, right.
God.
Like
Than
in
the actual
Aston's or
restaurant.
something.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or the one that stole the curry laksa recipe and started another shop just across the road.
right.
Like that's why there are
Yes.
5 katong laksas across the island. Okay. So,
I do have a question from an interviewer's point, not the interviewee.
Yes.
How can I discover how ambitious a person is?
That's a good one. So what we cannot predict is the future, and we cannot necessarily confirm that this candidate is going to be successful or not. We cannot tell. But we can go to his past or his or her previous roles and to get a sense of how this person thinks. What's their philosophy? What's their work ethic? And that's not difficult to suss by how they talk about their stories. So during interview, as an interviewer, you would ask them about their attributes or their past performances or something like, tell me about a time when you've completed a project that you're particularly proud of. What was it about that project, and what was your role? And then you see from their energy, you can tell when someone is talking about something they enjoy, their face will change. And you can tell if they're going to be ambitious or not. And then as an interviewer, as an employer, you want to hire someone correctly. So then you do the ref checks, you do the background checks, or you do what we call blind references. So you can ask around. I mean, you have friends. You have friends who might have friends who might know this person. So ask around and say, what was it like?
If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
What's your spirit animal?
Yeah.
What's your spirit animal? I love that. Yeah, mine's a rat.
You're out.
Goodbye, rat.
Okay, going back on the radio.
Kiss 92 traffic.
On the PIE towards the airport right after Thompson Road, an accident has been spotted. It's taking up lane 1. Also on the CTE towards the AYE, a broken down vehicle has been spotted before the Ang Mo Kio Avenue 5 exit. Look out for those situations and stay safe.
Good morning, Singapore, and welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is Sze-Yen from Career Agility International, and we're talking about snappy answers to stupid interview questions.
Yeah, and we've already kind of identified that the interviewer shouldn't be touching on anything related to race, religion, sexual orientation, disability status as well.
But this is Singapore, Yen. The companies, would they really get into trouble if they ask these questions?
I'm sure they do ask
We're
these
not
questions.
the USA,
That's true.
I would hope
where
they
you can
don't
sue
ask these
everybody and anyone. I don't think we're quite there yet.
Unless
What do
the
you think?
conversations are recorded, it's really hard to have the truth, whether or not you get asked these questions and then you want to complain about those questions. It's
He said, she
hard,
said, right?
right? Sometimes if you're not careful in informal interviews where there's alcohol or there's some food and you're feeling a little bit tired or vulnerable and you open the door as the candidate, you're
Right.
the one that reveals your disabilities or your gender orientation or whatever, then the employer can take that information.
Oh, right, okay.
So as a candidate, I think it's important that you just draw some boundaries around those topics, have a nice sort of comeback or like, this is not relevant to the role, but I've got all these other wonderful qualities instead, blah, 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 and I can do the job. And we can stick to that.
So that's something you should actually memorize, right? This is not relevant to the role, but have you heard about all the other skills that I have?
That's a nice go-to frame of mind or sort of an answer framework so
Okay.
that you can draw some clean boundaries.
Yeah.
But
I
here
like
in
that.
Singapore, what kind of action can you take? Let's say if you want to report.
An employer that asks something like that?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're offended, let's say when you go for an
MOM. Mm-hmm.
interview,
Ministry of Manpower.
MOM.
Yeah.
and what are some of the penalties?
So I'm not a lawyer,
Okay.
and I can't answer your question.
Okay.
But I can only speak to my anecdotal experience. Rarely does it ever escape a complaint, and you can talk to somebody about it. You can say, "You can't believe I got asked this question this morning. I'm not happy," and then the response from your friend would be, "Well, don't join this company."
So, but
'Cause,
MOM, that do they get those sort of
I don't
complaints?
know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know if any action can be taken unless there's proof.
Yeah.
So if it's a recorded interview, that is definitely very it's tangible.
Yeah.
So
Or
you
an
can-
email as well.
Yes.
In black and
yes,
white, because
yes.
I'm sure some of them, accidentally say something that they shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, is there a law
I'm sure there is.
that protects you from prospective employers asking you these questions?
Especially are you planning to have any children soon?
Is there a law? Is it defined in a law? Then the ministry can do something. If it's not defined in the law, the
Yeah.
ministry can't do anything.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true.
Okay, let's continue to talk about this on The Big Show TV. It's Thursday, the 25th of May.
Kiss 92 Day Check brought to you by Gain City's Maximum.
I'm happy to say that your partner Adrian Chu is on Facebook answering
is.
all the questions
Yeah.
that are being posted there. Thank you so much, Adrian, and good morning.
I hope your cough is better.
Oh, I've got a cough too.
Do you?
A little bit. I think all the durian I've been eating over the past 3 days, man.
Oh, that would do it.
3 days of Mao Shan Wang.
Yen, what happens if I'm doing this interview and we've spoken about the strength of this person and what this person can do and how this person's going to help my company, and I turn to that person and I go, but if you had one weakness, what would it be?
I love that question. It's a love-hate question. And I'm going to share with you my pet peeve answer. The answers that I really detest to that question is the one that tells me that that's my strength, but which is also my weakness.
Like?
Like I'm a perfectionist.
Oh,
Or I
right.
can't say no to work. Or
Right.
I'm a workaholic.
Right.
And that would be the answer to most. I've seen it as on the internet. Everyone says, "Oh, if you get asked this question on weakness, you should always give a weakness that's also convertible into a strength."
Right.
For me, I think that's a cop out.
Yeah, it's
Because-
fake.
So I'm just going to share a quick story, right? This was a mock interview I was doing many moons ago, and my question: so, what is one area of weakness? And the candidate goes, "Well, I'm a perfectionist," and I'm getting like, So I said, "How is that a problem?" And then she answers, "Well, I'm a bit slower." So your weakness is because you can't meet deadlines. And she goes, "No. I might do 2 things really slow, and then I'll just rush the rest." Oh. Did you just say that you were willing to submit quality that was subpar?
Oh, wow.
So if you think about the logic, what I'm asking for is a negative. Give me a negative and tell me what you're doing about it.
Yeah.
Tell me
How
what
you're solving
fixing.
it, yeah.
Or don't give me the negative. Tell me what you're working on to improve.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is more a better answer. So
Yeah.
what is your weakness? I'm looking to improve how I manage my time.
Yeah.
I've got 3 calendars, 4 alarm clocks, and 5 planners, and I've got accountability buddies. Right. So that would be a better answer to instead of perfectionism,
Right.
which is the cause of my not so timely.
So admit a
response.
weakness.
It is not. It is an area for improvement.
So, like, I'm really,
Okay, yeah,
I'm
okay,
taking
got it.
lessons to improve my typing speed.
For example,
Right?
Or-
Okay, so that you can get through it
That's
quicker.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily undiplomatic, but I'm
Yeah.
still working on diplomacy, for instance. Or I'm looking to manage my team more effectively when I'm stressed, for example.
I'm learning how to make better coffee so I can serve you coffee every day. Would you like a latte or a cappuccino?
I think that would be relevant if you were trying to be a barista.
PA or a personal assistant to the boss or whatever it is. I'm making fantastic coffee. Okay.
I wish I had someone in my office that made fantastic coffee.
Okay.
Someone would ask me, "What's your weakness?" I'll say ice cream.
What's your weakness? Well, I can't wake up in the morning.
Oh,
Now, that's one you don't
no.
want to admit. Don't want to admit that one. Not on this show. Not at all.
Okay, let's see. What other questions do our
Okay, yeah.
Kiss
Prashant,
listeners have.
Prashant has messaged in. I once attended an interview at a local bank, and while the interviewer expressed that he was impressed, I was suddenly hit with, "We're looking for people who can speak Mandarin." That wasn't in the job description or brief prior.
That's not fair. That's discriminatory.
That's discrimination.
That's sneaky, huh?
Yeah.
It is. It is. And I guess my response, if I were him, would be: to what extent would this be relevant? I mean, are the clients
the
from
role.
North Asia, or are we looking after a specific segment where everyone there has to speak Mandarin? Or am I looking at contracts in Mandarin? Like how many actual Singaporeans can do that?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I would turn around and ask those questions. And so a quick tip: I mean, a candidate is not there to just answer questions. You're also allowed to ask questions. So turn it around and ask.
But don't you find that a lot of Singaporeans, I want to say this politically correctly,
It's okay. We're on the Big Show TV.
they're not used to questioning an interviewer.
Yeah.
They're used to being questioned. They're not used to questioning.
We're so used to sucking up to interviewers.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
I think a lot of people approach, especially if you're younger, you kind of approach these conversations with a certain deference. You're wow, this person is the hiring manager. I need to wait for a permission. So I think the red card is
Yeah, we're going back on the radio. Stand by.
Kiss 92 traffic.
No news from the roads as of now. If you spot anything at all, we'll share that information if you WhatsApp it in to 8855-0920.
Good morning, Singapore, and welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. We are with Sze-Yen from Korea Agility International. Welcome to the show, Yen.
Good morning.
And we're talking about stupid questions.
Stupid questions. And the thing is, I feel that, and because I interview people, I find that a lot of people are not able to ask an interviewer questions. They feel almost like it's not their place. Or at least as an interviewer, that's what I get. It's not their place to ask questions. And I feel that's wrong. But how do we deal with that?
The thing is, I've got two tips. One is to do extensive research. The more you research, the more questions you have. But yes, when you enter the dynamics of an interview conversation, you wait to be asked at the beginning, and the interviewer might allude to something and go, tell me more about this, or how have you managed that? And you answer that question, and then you go, well, since we're on that topic, can you share with me how you've managed it? For example, so you can turn it around, and then you can have a nice tennis match, so to speak.
Yeah.
So if the interviewer were asking you, say, how do you manage like channel and distributor networks across Southeast Asia? So you might answer that question. You answer, you go on and you talk about your experience, and you go, well, since I'm on this topic, I understand that you have this sort of network for Asia. Maybe you can share with me your challenges. So it's a very nice
Bouncing off.
It's bouncing off.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people go into interviews as an interviewee thinking that you're doing the interviewer a favor by joining the company. When actually, where the interviewer is giving you the chance, the opportunity, but at the same time, the employee as well is doing something for the company. And I think employees go in thinking not that. You know what I mean? You're both working off each other. You're both bouncing off each other, and you're both helping each other.
That's right. So if you are thinking about the dynamics of that conversation, like we're back to interviewing, right? I think it's important that the candidate goes into the conversation thinking we're peers until we're not.
Yes.
So I'm just here to help. I dig deep for my empathy with this line manager. He needs my help. So then you
need me.
You would well, not, that's a fine balance between confidence and a bit much, right?
Right. Okay.
So you would have that natural curiosity, and this person is a human. He's got challenges, and I'm happy to be here to help. So then that conversation becomes very, very natural. But I recognize that a lot of candidates feel the need to prove something. And that's when they bring all their burdens and all of their histories, and they start defending before they're even asked. And that's when the conversation sort of goes downhill a little bit.
Wow, okay.
I like that. I like the question and answer and then switch it back to me, because then you start to get into each other's mind and you begin to understand each other.
Yeah.
And you begin to realize, maybe I can work with this person.
That's right.
It's so important.
Is it okay for them to ask you if you play golf, for example?
Yes, and
that's acceptable.
That's definitely coming back to get to know you better sort of questions. That's a good sign. So if you've done your research and you know the whole company plays golf and you're like 12 handicapper, then if your interviewer brings it up, you go like, we should play one day and all that, and then I can take your customers out. And, I've got this other thing that I'm getting involved in. Would you like to be part of my flight? I think that's good.
And just be careful that if nobody else plays golf and you go out one day saying you're sick and you come back looking darker than you did before, they'll know exactly where you were.
Well, I was just having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we all agree that golf is a life skill.
It is.
And they were all getting their kids to take up golf as well,
Absolutely.
because one day it'll come in useful.
Yep.
Unless, of course, the government closes all our golf courses here in Singapore
To build
because
more
all the
flats.
ministers don't play golf.
Oh, dear.
Anyways, thank you very much, Yen, for joining
You're
us today.
very
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Thank you.
Up next, One Republic. This is Sunshine on Kiss 92.
Running through the strange life, chasing all them green lights, throwing up the shit.
Shawn C is
Shawn
coming
C is
up
out.
next.
You're welcome to stay and watch the magic.
I will.
Could it be magic?
You know the thing about Mandarin? Moll came back and said she had the same situation when she went for a job, but the interviewer was very clever. He said, maybe this job's not for you, but I have this, this, and this. Which I thought was very clever.
Actually, it's so hard, right, going for an interview. It's like you need to be... Oh. Oh dear.
Okay, good morning, Shawn
Morning,
C.
Sean.
Good morning, everyone on Kiss 92.
How are you, bro?
Good. Have you
Yen
been
is
playing
here
golf?
as well.
Yes, I saw. Hi, Yen. We've never really met. Hello.
Have you been playing golf? Has he?
Oh,
when
have I been playing
when
golf?
has
Yes,
he not
yes,
been
yes.
playing golf?
Yeah, come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we
no,
got
he doesn't-
5 minutes, Shawn.
No problem. Just wondering why Glenn doesn't look any more tan than usual ever. You know.
I've been slapping on sunscreen.
Good.
That's why.
Okay. So today, what we'll do is we will do something like a little police and thief kind of thing. Okay. So let me explain. All right. So first, we're gonna get the cops. Okay. And I
cops.
found that. Yeah. I found that the jacks make good cops. You know, the jacks. Okay. That's these two. You can see them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, wait,
They
hold
make
on.
good
We're gonna
cops.
get Ashley to get rid of the banner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll enlarge you so that we can see the cards.
Sure.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
There you
you
go.
go.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. So these are the cops. Okay. We've pulled them out.
Okay.
All right. And we also need a mystery man. Okay. So we'll just make this quick. I'm gonna shuffle. You guys just say stop, and I'll cut the cards.
Let's
Stop.
get Yen to say stop.
Okay.
Yen is here.
Okay.
Okay.
Stop.
All right. Here. Okay. So we cut, and we have a mystery card. Mystery card. We'll get back to him later. Okay. So like I said, cops. All right. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna find a thief. This is like the mastermind. We're gonna find a thief first. So just make it quick. Yen, right? You're still there. You just say stop. Whenever you stop at, right, we'll pull out one card and then I'll show it to you guys. That will be our thief for today.
Okay.
All right. So Yen, anytime you are ready, just say stop.
Stop.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have a look at the card. That is the.
Got it.
All right. The ten
Okay.
of spades. Okay.
Ten of
He's the
spades.
thief.
Okay.
Okay. Ten of spades is the thief. All right. So what we're gonna do? The cops gonna try to catch the thief. Okay. Simple as that. That's all they do. They just come out here and boom, they've caught someone.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Someone, but we don't know who they've caught yet. All right. The thief was the ten of spades.
10 of spades, yeah.
That's the ten of spades.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
Hey,
well
hey,
done.
hey.
All right. Now he gets away. You know.
He escapes.
Like he escapes. Okay. But it doesn't matter because these guys are really good cops. Just give it a twist like that, and boom, they found the thief. And you know it can even be quicker than that. Okay. You know, because we pray he doesn't escape again. We pray. Okay. But somehow he does. He
And,
escapes.
oh, nice one.
Okay. So they decide that, hey, you know what? Let's forget about the thief. Okay, let's go for the mastermind, the guy behind it all. All right. And believe it or not, it turns out it was
To be the
same
10 of
guy.
spades.
Oh, come on!
Well done.
That's
well
good.
done.
The whole deck is the 10 of spades.
You know who those two cops are? No?
Look.
No, it's not. Oh,
It's
wow.
not. See, FD.
Oh, that's
He's
good.
better than that, lah, FD.
He's good. He's
Those
good.
two cops are Lim Yu Bing and James Lai.
What was it called?
Triple nine.
Triple
Nine.
nine. That's right, triple nine. Thank you so much, Shawn.
Welcome. Hope you guys
Anything
enjoyed
coming up?
that. Probably, but in a couple
Not
of
yet.
months. I'm getting
Okay.
ready for that, so I'll let you guys know.
Cool.
Yeah, please do.
Follow Shawn V Me
Yes.
on Instagram.
If you want teasers, follow Shawn V Me.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, guys. See you
Take
guys
care.
next week.
Take care.
And this has been The Big Show TV.